Concord. Wow. Come on down. I'll meet you there. I'll take the elevator over there. Look at this. Look at this.
I know, Alex cleans up nice, don't he?
Wow. Look at his pictures. Look at this.
Hey, you look good. You look good. Hello again. Congratulations. We're really happy to have you here, but we don't want you to leave. It's just one of those things. And what I have, let me just read for the record, Jackie, that I'm going to give you a chance to talk because you never like to talk. Jackie Rushing has served for City of Concord 43 years, City of Concord Electric Systems. He started in 1981 with the Concord Light and Water on a tree crew and spent 28 years in the field as a lineman before moving into management position as electric systems coordinator too. Throughout his service to the city, he has showed tremendous generosity and care for others. He's always quick to respond to calls of help, and he never hesitated to share his knowledge, experience, and expertise. Jackie deployed to at least 15 different communities across multiple states to help restore power during major storms and hurricanes. He also taught multiple electricity's basic and intermediate climbing schools and routinely led safety meetings and annual skills testing for coworkers. He's also actively involved in the North Carolina Association of Municipal Electric Systems and the Fallen Lineman Foundation. It's rare to meet someone who has dedicated his life not just to a single mission, but to one company. His leadership, dedication, and teamwork we've greatly missed. We really appreciate all that you have done. Let's hear it.
Just tip the plank a little towards you, but that's perfect. That's excellent. Not that far. Silly.
Thank you. Jackie, tell us a little bit about experiences you've had during your time, 43 years.
There's so many of them. There's a lot of them. I want to really start. I was telling Andrew a while ago, I was digging through some stuff, and I have actually kind of forgot a little bit about these storm troubles back going to Statesville, Monroe, and that was back in '89 and '92 and stuff like that. I said, but the ones that stand out to me most of all was going, I guess, like to Eden and down to Florida and all that stuff in West Virginia. And I always had a good group of guys to go with that I love working with. They're good guys. They're faithful, and they do a good job. But my time at the city, you know, it's been good. You know, it ain't always been great. You know, and I said with anybody would have got a career and been there so long, sometimes you have some ups and you have some downs. But overall, I have no complaints. I was fortunate enough to have a career this long here and stay healthy enough to do it, and have some good people to follow, to work for. So it's been good and been great, and I've loved training guys. You know, I've always loved doing that because I always like watching them grow, and that's what we got sitting over there today. We got some good guys sitting right there that I'm proud of, and they're going to be good for the city of Concord.
Fantastic. Let's just hear it again from Jackie. And we're truly going to miss you being a part of our organization. I mean, there's not a day that I've been here that I hadn't seen you when I'm down at Brown Complex. I said, I wish you'd go ahead and leave. Just kidding, just kidding. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
And council would like to also thank you. And one thing else, anybody want to say anything else about Jackie while I have the microphone here? Anybody? Okay. If you change your mind in the next minute or two, come on up. You can speak.
They're coming up next, too, anyway.
I know they are. Well, I have an idea on that. Okay. Jackie, if you could just, the council.
Mr. Mayor, there is no replacing him. We will not have another Jackie Rushing at the city of
Nope.
Concord. No, we will not. But
Nope.
lots of people got a lot of good knowledge, so, from him.
You get to hold that.
I don't need to.
No, you get to hold that, because I already see it. I already have one right there.
Oh, golly. Yeah.
So along the same lines, I'd like you to stay up here while we do the next presentation. Whereas January 3rd, 2017, the 115th Congress of the United States adopted House Resolution 10 recognizing line workers, professional line workers, and the contribution they have, these brave men and women, to protect the public safety and express support for the designation of the April 18th as National Lineman Appreciation Day. I'd like to have the linemen come up at this time, if I could.
Come on, guys. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for being here. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. So with this proclamation, the City Council celebrates the profession of electric line workers and wishes to honor it to the Electric Systems Department personnel for their exemplary service to Concord and its citizens. Whereas electric line workers are responsible for building and maintaining the distribution lines that bring electricity to homes and businesses, constantly devoting themselves to their duty. Whereas this profession demands passion, dedication, and ongoing training, and require line workers to maintain the power lines around the clock, ensure they can provide safe, reliable energy to the community. Whereas the line workers are often first responders during storms, working to repair broken and damaged electric lines under hazardous conditions in order to make the area safe for other public services, for public service heroes. Whereas line workers play a vital role in the lives of the residents by maintaining and growing the electrical infrastructure, putting their lives on the line every day by working with many dangers of high voltage. Whereas the line workers of the Concord Electric Systems and their are examples of service above self, are deserving of respect, admiration, and appreciation of all our citizens of Concord. Now, therefore, I, William C. Dush, Mayor of the City of Concord, on behalf of City Council, do hereby proclaim April 18th, 2025 in the City of Concord is Line Workers Appreciation Day. Let's hear it. If I could get all of you in tight here, and we'll get here together. Come on in. You're part of this organization. And I'll let you hold the proclamation. Yeah, I didn't know you were that tall. Yes. So I guess before we all step down, I think it'd be great to have everybody up here this time. Come on up. Since this all works together between you, because of you, all the work you've done for the last 43 years. With that said, this is what you've built on. And this is recognition of Concord Electric Systems for earning the RP3 award. Concord Electric Systems earned the Reliable Public Power Provider RP3 designation from the American Public Power Association. They earned this designation because of their dedication to operating an efficient, safe, and reliable electric distribution system. There are more than 2,000 public power utilities across the country. Concord Electric System joins an elite group, one of just 251 public power utilities to hold the RP3 designation. To achieve this, they had to demonstrate excellence in 4 categories: reliability, safety, workforce development, and system improvement. The recognition is incredible testament to the hard work of the men and women of the Concord Electric Systems Department and their commitment in providing families and businesses with exceptional service. When the power goes out, we know they'll be there to get it back quickly and safely. And they're not just maintaining the status quo, but continually improving and innovating and improving our system to meet the community need now and in the future. We are very proud of the City of Concord Electric Systems for earning the Platinum Status RP3 Award. Congratulations and thank you from all our community. So with that, I would like to present this. Yeah, let me just slide right here. Yeah, you'll swap for a second. Yeah, there we go.
Bear with me. We won't be able to see that, but just all along.
Is there anybody left in the shop?
No, sir.
Thank you very, very much. We appreciate all that you're doing. You again, glad to.
Excuse me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Great. How do you want this? You want?
We can try to stack here. If you guys will wrap over here, if we want, we can try and get everybody squeezed in here and get the Concord behind it there. That at least gets our friend out of the way.
Yep. Do I? Yeah.
So if we can slide you down about 2 bodies worth fresh in, or it's double stacked, that's even better. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Got a couple more here just to make sure. What's photobombing you? Got him in there for sure. And one more. 1, 2, 3. Congratulations.
Okay, before we move, there's always got to be words. No Elvis shot today. But there, Alex, do you have anything you'd like to add to all this is going on today?
No, sir, I can't, how much I appreciate these guys and gals enough for what all they do every day to the community, for the community. And not only that is we are the community. We live here when we work here, and we're proud of what we do.
Yes, sir. Thank you for what you all do, and
Yes, sir.
keep up that great work.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Great job. Thank you. We are moving down to informational items, presentation of Miss Cabarrus County 2025, Jamie Logan. Is she here? Thursday. That'll be Thursday, okay. Departmental reports, today we have speed limit study presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we've got Philip coming up, and I think Chief Hughes is also going to follow up at the end of his presentation, talk a little bit about how we do speed studies and specifically the study conducted on Union Street. So Philip, if you would.
All right, thank you, Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolczynski, Ms. Deason. The speed limit, a quick presentation on the speed limit policy procedures as we have them outlined here at the city. State statute, I'll start with that, defines the citywide speed limits. They're set by, as the 35 miles per hour unless otherwise posted. You're pretty familiar with that. Anywhere it's a residential district, that's standard across the state. Some cities do have 25 miles per hour. Here we have the standard 35 miles per hour. So if you don't see a posting, that's what it is. In accordance with our city code, our staff, myself, does have the discretion to reduce or increase the speed limit by no more than 10 miles per hour at the request of citizens or as we deem advisable from a safety standpoint. Anything different than that 10 miles per hour, more than, less than, or more than, anyways, we'll come to you, City Council, for recommendations for your approval. And we'll walk through those steps here in just a moment. And then requests for these speed limit reductions are not to address law enforcement or issues other than traffic. And what we're referring to there is if there is another complaint, say that it was, just for example, drug-related, and somebody wanted a speed limit change, that doesn't correlate with those two items. So really no reason for us to add a sign for something that's not there. So here's the next 4 slides are simply just the 4 steps that we go through in our policy. So step 1 is contacting our department, submitting a speed limit change request form. So it's small there on the side of the slide. We provide that form to the citizen or that person requesting such. And then we begin our study. That initiates that information. That gives us the initial, what's going on, what do you see as a citizen, gives us the best chance of making sure we're looking at the right segment of the road, right characteristics, and so forth. So we have to verify that that is indeed part of the city street system. If it's part of the state, we'll refer that to NCDOT. You may still do the study initially, and then we'll communicate that to NCDOT. The street should not be designated to be reasonably or safely traveled at the current speed. So if it's already, this study's been recently done, it's already been deemed that speed, there's really no reason to repeat that in a very, very small window. And then we have our list of criteria as we study this. Typically referred to about the middle bullet point on that list, the 85th percentile. That has traditionally been what we've set speed limits by. 85th percentile means the speed at which 85% of the cars are going or less. That 15% more than that, that's sort of your outliers. You're going to have emergency vehicles in those numbers. Your one-off speeder that doesn't reflect the general population. So your comfortable speed is typically that 85th percentile. And then standard says plus or minus 5 miles per hour from there. We then factor in a number of other factors, whether schools, site distance, on-street parking, whatever else we can find on the street. We're going to look at the whole site when we do these studies. Next, maybe. Next slide. There we go. Step 2. All right. So we receive that data. Staff will review that, and we will meet with our monthly, what we call TSAC, our Transportation and Safety Advisory Committee. That is an internal meeting with transportation, police, fire, city manager's office, neighborhood services, anybody internally that would be impacted. And the whole premise of that is we want to make sure we look at every angle before we come back to the citizen. We don't want to look at this in a vacuum as just the engineers and our standards that we have. We want to know what's real world happening from emergency response, what's happening from what are we hearing from the neighborhood, the HOAs, and so forth, and get all that information down before we look at our final determinations. So, and the next part there is our possible recommendations. Obviously, the recommendations could be no, could be doesn't meet the criteria, it's not eligible for the change. It could mean that it meets the criteria of the speed limit change policy. However, it's not recommended for a change, meaning all the ingredients are there for it could be changed, but we're not seeing an actual problem on the street. We don't want to change the speed limit if there's not a real problem going on. It means drivers have developed an expectation there. There's no safety reason any longer to make that change. The street segment meets criteria and it's been determined that speed limit change is necessary, it's advisable by our committee, by myself, by our staff, and then such we can change it if it's within that 10 mile per hour window. And then beyond that, coming here to City Council if it's a further change than that. And then we have our traffic calming policy. Sometimes it means there's no speed limit change that needs to happen at all, but we need something physically different on the road. And we have a separate policy for that outlines, do we need to narrow the road? Do we need to add striping? Do we need to add something different physically that you're gonna approach other than just the sign on the side? right, step 3 is petition. So if it's not recommended, we do go back to citizens, and it's pretty common for us to do this, especially within a neighborhood that has only 1 or 2 entrances to it. It's all cul-de-sacs. A petition process gets everybody at least informed, if nothing else. They know that this is coming. They know that there are a complaint kind of on the table, and they're part of the process. So, because what's the thing we've learned in the past is the first people to get the tickets are the folks in the neighborhood that initiated the request. So, at least this brings everybody an awareness to it. We do ask for 75% of property owners to sign off on that if this is the case. And so if we go to the petition form, then we'll bring that here to council for you all's recommendation. Step 4, final step. So if it's approved, we'll put up the appropriate signs. We'll advise our friends at police of the change that has occurred, and so that they can make their area officers aware. If it's been reduced, we'll use something like what's on the screen there, a temporary radar sign alerting what your speed is, getting an awareness up, hey, there's a new speed limit. You're aware of your own speed that you're doing. Folks drive what's comfortable. If it's changed from that gets your bearings on the street there. So we'll do that for about 2 weeks. And then we'll do periodic speed collection after that to make sure that was indeed the appropriate speed for the roadway. So that is our process in a quick snippet. If you have any questions about that part.
Any questions from council? Okay.
Okay, so on that topic, make sure I pull up my notes here. So more recently, our department has performed a speed study on Union Street South, which I believe is was brought about some of this topic here. So just south of Tribune Avenue, the current speed limit is 35 miles an hour. We collected the data with what we call a stealth device. So it's a box on a pole. There's no flashing lights to it. There's no speed response to it. It's simply a gray box that really wouldn't stand out to the typical driver. But now you know, so now you will slow down. At every little box you see on the road. So that stealth device is not as noticeable, and the point is to not influence drivers. We want to get raw data. What are you doing on a typical weekday, typical work day? We don't want it to be, we want it to be during regular school season, not in the summer. So we want that majority of representative sample. So we did that. The results of the 85th, we got the 85th percentile of 37 miles an hour. So again, 37 miles an hour is 85% of the drivers are going that or slower. By our book, that means the speed limit should be within plus or minus 5 of that. So 35 current posted would be deemed appropriate by that factor. Additionally, the average speed, so just the straight average of that was 33.9, 34 miles an hour. So I mentioned that. So again, that 85th percentile is something that comes from Federal Highway Administration. That's a national standard. Our practice uses that everywhere, and as well as those other factors. Union Street's a fairly wide road, fairly open road. You've got a lot of visibility on that. So it is comfortable for most drivers to go 35 safely. Roadside development, we factor in all that. Pedestrian bicycle facilities, there are sidewalks. Again, wider roads, sight distance. We do factor in crash history and prior study results. So we want to see if there's a trend forming. So, and we pulled that data. So back to 2001, we've performed 5 other studies. Of those, four of those studies said the 85th percentile was 39, 38, 37, and 38. So we're staying right in line with that at 37 miles an hour currently, and the average has stayed about the same. The only other study we performed was at the school zone, so that speed was influenced by the school zone. Our 85th was 35, but we were checking with the new signal in place with McAllister School reopening, what those speeds had turned out to be. So that's kind of an outlier that it came down, but we're factoring in that school zone reduced speed. So again, our staff recommended that the current 35-mile-per-hour speed limit is safe and reasonable under the conditions in the data observed. So, any questions?
Any questions? Yeah, wait.
Sure.
Forget this thing. I'm curious about going back to that petition slide that you had, because I know those residents down there have been pretty involved in getting this petition together to change that speed. I don't know if they have asked for that speed to be changed to a particular limit that may, I mean, if they asked for it to be 30 or, whatever that might be feasible in line with this petition.
Correct. So historically, the request for Union Street South has been to reduce it to 25. The most recent petition that was done by residents was done on an online forum, not using the city's petition form that we have laid out in our policy. The difference really there is they're using an electronic form. We don't have a way of verifying information the same way there. On our form, we can take the paper copy. We can see that there were physical signatures, actual people that signed it, and addresses. And so we can go back and verify that data. So that's why we like that.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So in this case, on Union Street, would it have to be the residents, would residents from all of Union Street get to participate, or
Just
how would that work? How does that work?
We deem it the impacted area. So essentially where we're going to be changing the speed limit at. What's the requested area? We may change those limits because it's not appropriate for it to change in just that small block. It needs to change over, the course of a half a mile or whatever it is. In a neighborhood, it's really easy to define because you can see you're going to pretty much do that whole neighborhood road from entrance to cul-de-sac. And you can say that whole road, it's the impacted folks. We need their signatures at 75%. A street like Union Street, we're going to kind of define those limits and make sure it's reasonable. We're not going to stretch out and do everything from Union Street north to Branchview.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And does the impact of having the greenway along that stretch of road have any impact into your study?
Yeah, that's a good point. So we do factor in pedestrian facilities. Like I mentioned, Union Street having the sidewalk part of the greenway. It also has the wider cross section of road. So the vehicles aren't necessarily right against the sidewalk. You've got parked vehicles, you've got landscape vehicles, you've got various things there on the side of the road. And we don't have, heavy tractor trailer presence and other vehicles that would, again, be right against the curb, right on the pedestrians there. So we feel that they're in a safe place.
Yes, go ahead, J.C.
What's the difference? Mine doesn't work, of course, got to hit it.
There you go.
What's the different factor between north at 25 miles an hour and South Union at 35? What's the difference?
Some speed limits in Concord, as I mentioned, council can set those speed limits. To my understanding, that was a city council determined speed limit at that time. The 25.
25. Bill, I've got one question. Back to
Go ahead.
the petitioner that was trying to get 75. How did they know what the universe was? In other words, what part of 75 of 100, or how many did they know?
When they contact us, we let them know,
So you gave them a number.
what our segment is going to be. Our staff will talk to them.
Okay, I got you.
So if they engage with us and ask that question directly, we'll give them that information back.
So when and if they did it, that's how they get the data.
Correct. And I'm not 100% sure here what that determination was on that distance.
I guess that's kind of a technicality. Seems a little bit like a technicality, but if they got their neighbors to sign an online petition and they turn that into a paper petition that's on this particular form, am I hearing that they could get something done in changing that limit with that form? I mean, is
So,
that
so
what
in
I'm
that, in that
understanding?
situation, if they were to get it onto the form, because our data doesn't reflect that it should be changed, or
Okay,
that we recommend that change, I should say,
right.
then it would come before you all, for whether or not to make that speed limit change.
So they're going to have to get their petition redone.
Yes, ma'am.
But based on everything we're seeing, this is going to be our decision.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Lloyd, anything? Okay.
So I was just going to provide a little bit of historical information for your consideration as well. So we looked at the roadway from 157 Union Street South, which is right where the 20-mile-per-hour zone starts coming into downtown, all the way down to Wayne Court, which is just before you get to Branch U and the gas station. So that's the geographical area that we reviewed. And we reviewed it from March of '24 to the end of February '25, so a year's worth of data. And in that time, we issued 34 speeding citations, and we responded to 20 traffic crashes. So a total of 20 traffic crashes over that 12-month period of time, and speed was not a factor in any of those traffic crashes. So I just want to provide that information to you all for your consideration as well.
Just for our edification, if it wasn't speed, what was it?
So the number one, so half of them was rear end slower stop, which is typically not paying attention. Generally speaking, it's a telephone or some other thing that's caused a distraction.
Didn't the young lady that ran into the Harris's fence, which is what kind of started all this, wasn't she speeding pretty significantly?
No, so in the accident report, so this was a very, very experienced driver, had many years of driving. And she said that because the neighborhood is so beautiful that she was distracted and just didn't pay attention and ran off the road, struck a pole and hit the fence. She was not speeding, no, but I reviewed all of the accident reports of those 20, and they're all right there within the miles per hour that we were just discussing.
The only thing a lower speed would do, it would lessen the distance she would go when she's looking at the beautiful terrain.
Very possible, yes, sir.
Yeah. That's slower.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. So I guess coming back, council has to decide if there's anything that they want to do once this petition comes back to us.
Well, yeah, and I'll just clarify, I think what Philip said was even if the petition was on the city form, it's going to come to staff, and staff's recommendation would be not to
Right,
change the
right.
speed limit, so it's going to have to come back to council. So do we want the citizens to go back through that process, knowing it's going to come to council anyhow? Staff's not going to recommend that to be changed.
Yeah,
Right, it's really up to council. Do you want to change it? Do you want the citizens to go back through it and sign the city's form?
I really don't see the petition as being the issue. The issue is, I mean, yes, you go back and do it and you have the same thing. We're still going to show that people are not speeding on it, but from other aspects that are beyond what they do, because they did a great job telling us. Is that something we want to lower the speed to, by like to 30 miles an hour, just because my biggest concern is having the greenway along there, a lot of people walking every day. But that's council decision.
But I also think it's important that the data that was presented is given to these individuals.
It is heading their
because
way.
we're tasked with looking at all of that.
Right.
But the data is what the staff is tasked with, and they just gave us information that no one had. And I think that's important that those individuals have that.
It is coming their way, because that's the reason we got this done. Because this is not a speeding issue, this is a different issue that, just like North Union, why is it 25? Because council said it.
And how it compares.
Yeah. So I think we'll have further discussions, but if I could, if it's okay for council, if I send the information to the individuals via the chief and the director.
How's the citizen going to get the information? Are we going to do it as well?
Well, I mean, this is a public meeting, and we have presented it, so we can just present it. This is the facts to them.
Understood. Back to the petitioner. or the-
But again, this is going to come back to us, not to the police, not to transportation. It's coming back to us, whether or not we want to lower that speed limit based on things that are,
And that would be a hearing, I assume. We have to go through that process? Would that be a hearing?
There's no requirement for a
No
public
requirement?
hearing.
So
this would just be an item.
Correct.
just be on the list. Okay.
All right. But I will get the information to Mr. Harrison. We'll go from there.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you very, very much for your studies and clarifying it for us. Appreciate that. Anything else on this? All right, public hearings, we have 3 this month, excuse me, 1 this month. Conduct a public hearing, consider approval of agency annual plan, which includes updates of policies.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Della's going to come forward and present this to council this evening, take any questions you may have.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council, Ms. Kolchinsky, Mr. Payne, and Ms. Deason. This agenda item is to present and adopt the annual plan for fiscal year 2025 for the Housing Department. A copy of the plan is included in your packet. We are seeking, the Housing Department staff is required to submit the agency annual plan of the United States to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development annually, 75 days before the start of the fiscal year. The plan must be available for public review for 45 days prior to adoption to allow for public comments on the proposed changes. The plan has been ready for review since February 8th, 2025. A public hearing must be held before adoption to gather public input on the proposed changes. Updated policies in this year's plan include conversion of public housing to project-based rental assistance or project-based vouchers under RAD, continued collaboration with planning and neighborhood development, and We Build Concord to increase affordable market rate units. Additionally, the most recent revision of the plan approved by HUD on August 28, 24 continues to focus on infrastructure improvements, including HVAC and appliance upgrades, tree removal for hazard mitigation, unit abatement, turnarounds, and other unit enhancements. The plan also includes the opportunity for the resident council to provide comments. I am meeting with them tomorrow to present the plan and record their comments for inclusion with the submission. I'll be happy to answer.
Any question from council? Yes, go ahead.
So the public hearing is specifically for housing residents? I know you go into the meeting and share the information, but does that include residents outside of housing?
Well, the public hearing on Thursday.
On Thursday.
Is that-
That's going to be your public
Yeah,
hearing?
that is the
Gotcha,
public
okay.
Yes.
All right, thanks.
JC?
Yeah, I'm going to get way out of my lane of knowledge. We'll go back to Concord United's first report 3 years ago. One of the things they brought up was financial education literacy for our residents in public housing.
Yes.
And could we require it? And staff came back and said, yes, that could be if we ask HUD. Would that be done in this document? And should that be included, that we have the capability to require financial training, or is that somewhere else? Or do you want to get back to me on Thursday?
Let me get back to you on Thursday, but
Was the question,
but the question would be, we could, under a moving to work type of demonstration, HUD has not opened that back up for new cohorts. If that is something that you all desire.
and I don't quite understand the difference between moving to work and this financial that just readies people for rental units, market rate rental,
Oh.
and home ownership.
So
And
under
that's
moving
kind of
to
was the
work,
idea, to prepare them for like a We Build Home, which they're not.
Right.
Would that be in this document or somewhere else that we could address that?
There are grants that we can apply for. There's
No,
a
I'm just
job-
asking to require them.
Oh, to require?
As a requirement?
No, as a requirement, no. Everything would be optional. under that part, unless we did a moving to work demonstration and then changed our flexibilities with HUD approval. And we made it in that moving to work document a requirement.
Okay.
But until they open up a new cohort, or if that's something you all want us to explore. But right now, no, we're not, it's not a requirement.
Okay, thank you, Della.
Anything else? All right, thank you very much.
Sure.
Moving on to presentation, petition, and requests. Number 1, consider renaming Fawn Circle Southwest to Vic Street, Pierre Place.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Fred's going to handle item 1 as you described, and also item 2 this evening for council.
Hey, good afternoon, Mayor, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchinsky, Ms. Deason, members of council. The item before you is a citizen-initiated street renaming request to rename Fawn Circle Southwest to Vic St. Pierre Place Southwest. This request is being submitted, was submitted by Mr. Mike Ford and other parishioners of the St. James of the Greater Catholic Church. They want to rename the private street Fawn Circle in honor of Victor Joseph St. Pierre, who's a longtime parishioner there, as well as a World War II veteran. The Planning and Neighborhood Development staff reviewed this request and does not see any 911 or emergency response problems that would arise from this renaming. And as you can see from the attached map there are 2 buildings that use a private street for access, and those 2 buildings are the larger building in white is the Our Lady of Guadalupe Hall, which is addressed off of Manor Avenue. And Gill Hall is a smaller, rectangular building to the south of the Guadalupe Hall. And that's actually addressed off of Fawn Circle, excuse me. The church owns all of the property that is served by the private street. And only one of the addresses would be affected by the street name change, and that would be for Gill Hall, which is owned and operated by the church. In terms of your next steps is basically to consider approving the official street name change from the private street at St. James, the Greater Catholic Church, from Fawn Circle Southwest to Vic St. Pierre Place Southwest.
Okay.
And I'll take any questions you guys may have at this time.
Any questions? Okay, thank you very much. Number 2, consider adopting a resolution intent to schedule a public hearing on the matter of closing a right-of-way, Union Street South.
All right, well, I'm back again. Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchinsky, Ms. Deason. Again, this item is an alley right-of-way closure application for your consideration. The right-of-way in question is an unopened, approximately 30-foot wide alley connecting Union Street to Sunset. Okay, yeah, forgot about that. Sorry. Connecting Union Street to Sunset Drive Southeast, and it actually runs parallel to Louise Drive. The area of closure has never been opened, and it's unimproved, and it's approximately 312 feet in length, and it has an overall area of little less than 7,500 square feet. Stephen and Karen Bradley own the 2 parcels along the north side of the closure, and Renda and Albert Powell and Seth and Bethany Micarelli own the 2 parcels along the south side of the area of closure. Each property owner has been notified that they will receive a portion of the alley upon abandonment. In terms of the details, I'll run through those. The alley's unimproved again. The area is almost 7,500 square feet. There are no utilities present within the area of closure. We received no objections from the reviewing departments. And again, the petitioner and adjoining property owners have been briefed about their ownership requirements per the general statutes. In terms of next steps, is to consider adopting a resolution to set the public hearing for May 8th. And staff will conduct public notice process, including certified mail to adjacent property owners, posting signs, as well as newspaper advertisements for 4 consecutive weeks. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have at this
Well,
time.
the other thing, the immediate drop-off Union Street is 40 feet straight down.
Yeah, so it's pretty severe.
Very severe.
Sounds like you've been down there.
Oh, yeah, I have, yeah. Yes. Definitely, I know all about it. And- Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. No more questions from council? All right. All right, number 3, consider approving owner-occupied reconstruction 133 Cypress Street.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Mary's going to cover this item this evening. This is a great opportunity for partnership with Habitat, so if you would, Mary.
Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchinsky. The item before you this evening is the request to approve a reconstruction of 133 Cypress Street for Ms. Elma Henderson and Ms. Joyce Redfern, mother and daughter, who live in the property. This would be a reconstruction, to remind council about a reconstruction, that is HUD's terminology for a demo of a home and then a construction of a new home due to the condition of the home being such that rehabilitation is cost prohibitive for that home. The repairs would be $129,295 to build the new home. This would be a partnership with Habitat for Humanity. Home funds would be used to complete that project, and the home would only change 11 square feet from the existing home. It would increase by 11 square feet. The household income is under 44% of area median income, so at that level, they would pay back 50%. Resulting in a monthly payment of $277.48 at 0% interest for 30 years. There would be a deed restriction on the property for that time frame, and the owners, being that this is a HUD project, the owners will fall under what is referred to as URA, Uniformed Relocation Act, and so staff would be responsible for making sure that they are placed during the demolition and reconstruction. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, any question from council?
I think this is for Valerie. Deed restriction is payback of the funds if they sell.
I would assume yes. I haven't seen the deed restriction.
I'm sorry, I guess it is your question.
So we do have a deed restriction with our home funds, and that deed restriction does cover if the homeowner sells that property or is no longer occupying that property. So it's not necessarily just selling the property. If they move out and they start renting that property, then that comes back.
Thank you, Mary.
We've also had situations where the occupant passes away and the deed restriction kicks in at that point in time as well. To the estate, yes. If, sometimes there's nobody, so it's.
Yep. And in this case, Ms. Redfern is the daughter, and Ms. Henderson does have estate paperwork in place, which is a requirement for HUD within this program, that she would be the person who would inherit that property, so that if something does happen to her, the home automatically falls to her, so there would be that continuation of ownership.
Any more questions? All right, thank you very much. Number 4, consider adopting a resolution giving preliminary approval to issuance of multifamily housing revenue bonds.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the petitioners asked that this item receive no action this month and be pulled. So Valerie, I'm not sure if there's any other steps that council needs to take.
No, sir.
So the 7-year clock is ticking to keep coming back to this issue?
I do have a question. Well, that mill has been Norcott
Yeah.
since 1915. Is that one of the corrections?
That was intentional on the petitioner's part.
Correct, yeah,
Okay.
they want it to be that.
So they're changing the name of the mill?
That's a question you can ask when they come
I will.
and present.
Okay, so that's been pulled, and we go to item 5, consider adopting a resolution authorizing eminent domain for a parcel located in northeast quadrant of George Lyles and Weddington Road.
Yes, so this property is currently owned by Ms. Coble and the two Misters Needham. And acquisition of the easement is necessary for the construction of a gravity wastewater main that is part of the project to eliminate the Laurel Park pump station. This is a permanent utility easement of 12,383 square feet. That's about 0.284 acres. It is currently estimated to have a value of $42,643, but an appraisal has been ordered. I understand that there were some significant negotiations with the representative of the family is Scott Needham, with Mr. Needham. That seems to have broken down. We are hoping to be able to revive that, but if not, this property, this easement is absolutely necessary to put in this gravity water main, wastewater main. Questions?
Nothing is on that land right now.
Correct. There's nothing on the land right now.
Questions? All right, thank you. Number 6, consider approving language to amend the deed restrictions for up to 6 units of WeBuild projects on Lincoln Street.
And this is also me. You may remember that with the Powder Street project, WeBuild project, we had a request to amend the restrictions so that it was clear which units were being chosen by WeBuild as their 25% that they're allowed under the deed restrictions to sell at either market or workforce rate. Everything else has to be at affordable rates. This is our attempt to get ahead of that curve. So we will have the approved language in place so that when they choose the unit, we can drop the unit number in there, file it, and they're ready to go close. So this will not be filed immediately. We're asking you to approve it so that once WeBuild chooses the unit, which units they're going to sell at above affordable rates, we will be able to be very responsive to their requests for those amendments.
Questions? Yeah, it does. Thank you. Number 7, consider authorizing city manager to negotiate and execute a contract with City CITI Incorporated.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Jeff will cover this item this evening for council.
All right, good afternoon, Mayor, Council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchinsky, Ms. Deason. This item is a contract, approval of a contract for CITI Incorporated for SCADA Integration Services. This is really the culmination of a years-long project within our department to try to identify improvements to our water system operations. A little background on water SCADA. SCADA is System Controls and Data Acquisition. We love acronyms in our business. This system is used to physically operate all the components of the water treatment plants, as well as remote sites like pump stations, actuated valves, and even chemical feeds within the distribution system. This system also provides a real-time view of important system status throughout the water system, including tank levels, flow rates, and chemical dosages. There are 2 parts of our current system that need to be addressed that we have been unable to optimize with our current solution, and those are data collection and remote alerting. Our current data collection package is incredibly complex, making it very difficult and time-consuming to retrieve even simple historical data requests. A robust but easy-to-use system would allow data to be used to operate the system much more efficiently. Our current alerting platform is an add-on system that has very limited functionality and does not provide modern tools for today's communication needs, such as email, text, and push alerts. Staff began this process by visiting many other utilities and viewing their systems. It quickly became obvious that we had some work to do, and there are tools available on the market today to greatly improve our operations, our reliability, and our efficiency. We received 4 submissions from a public RFQ advertisement on February 12th, and after thoroughly checking references and numerous scoping meetings, we have selected CITI Incorporated at a cost of $687,845. Also included in this item is a budget amendment for $800,000 to move money into that project. After discussions with the IT department, we are including these additional funds for some hardware and technology improvements to assist in the overall modernization of the SCADA IT architecture. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Great. Any question from council? JC?
So this is a material contract, material and software.
This
We're installing it.
So the only hardware is a handful of computers. There's some additional IT hardware that's outside of CIT's scope that is that delta between the project amendment. Generally, it's a recoding of the entire system. The PLCs, the hardware is going to be fine. We're good there, so most of this work is actually coding.
No field devices, nothing.
That is correct.
Okay, good.
Okay. Any others?
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 8, consider awarding a bid to Carolina Site Works Incorporated.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Jaron's coming forward. He's going to cover this item on behalf of Electric tonight.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchinsky, and Ms. Deason. On March 18th, 2025, the city held a public bid opening for the grading project at Substation Inn, located at 1050 Vine Haven Drive, just off Copperfield Boulevard Northeast. 4 bids were submitted, with Carolina Site Works submitting the lowest responsive and responsible bid in the amount of $184,644. I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Question from council? Thank you very much. Number 9, consider authorizing city manager to negotiate and execute a contract with J.D. Goodrum Company.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a very exciting project as NOAA comes forward to present this to council this evening. As council is aware, this is a project that will create the first park west of Dorton Park in the western part of our city. So I'm super excited about it. Staff is too. So Noah, if you would, tell council where we are at this point in time.
Yep. Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchinsky, and Ms. Deason. For your consideration today is the J.E. Jim Ramsher Park project. This is the third Parks and Recreation Bond project bid to date. 4 bids were received and opened on March 20th through the formal bidding process. The lowest bidder was J.D. Goodrum Company at $17,975,041.95. This is the same contractor that recently completed the Dorton Park renovations. The bond construction budget for Ramsher Park is $19,300,000. The consultant engineer's estimate for the project was $20.1 million. Through highly competitive bidding, this project came in approximately $1.3 million under budget. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
And much lower than the estimated budget.
Yes, much lower than the estimated budget.
Questions? Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
10, consider authorizing city manager to negotiate and execute a contract with Carolina Sightworks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Rick's coming forward to present this item to council this evening.
Mr. Dush, members of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchinsky, Ms. Deason. Before you is the proposed Logan Recreation Center parking lot expansion, the much-needed expansion. This project will add 18 new parking spaces to the Logan Recreation parking lot. It will provide an additional entrance from Lincoln Street. As you know, right now, all the entrance is from Booker Street, so this will allow customers to come in off of Lincoln Street. The project was bid on the formal bidding process. We obtained 5 bids. The lowest bid was Carolina Sightworks in the amount of $346,358.65. Any questions?
And another one that's under the budget.
Not as good as Noah's, but it's good.
Yeah, no, it's real good. Anytime you come in under budget, it's real good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, any question, council?
That's good. I was gonna say, bring that up, in with that, definitely, that, under budget.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
is this the lot, vacant lot that's next
Correct.
to the?
This is the vacant lot. The city purchased 3 separate lots years past, and we have combined those lots to create the parking lot.
And the wall, will that be the wall?
There will be a retaining
separate?
wall that will extend alongside the existing retaining wall on the Logan Center.
Okay, will there be any separation between the house that's next to the vacant lot?
The separation will be the buffer, and we have a very, very robust planting plan that will separate the house from the parking lot.
All right, and do you know when the work will start?
Council approval next Thursday. Contracts, it'd probably be around middle of May.
Thank you.
Any more
Thank you.
questions? Thank you, Rick. All right, number 11, consider accepting a preliminary application from Ray Barnes and Emmy Barnes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the presentations for engineering continues this evening. So Jackie has items 11 and 12 for council.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchinsky, and Ms. Deason. Mr. and Mrs. Barnes have submitted a preliminary application for water service at 5451 Flow Store Road, Concord. This is a .44 acre parcel zoned LDR within Area B. The owners wish to build 1 new home and demolish that existing home. Sewer is not available to the parcel.
Questions? No question for council? All right. Number 12, consider accepting a preliminary application, Flow Store Church LLC, Flow Store LLC.
Okay. Mr. Paul Goforth has submitted a preliminary application for water service at 6300 and 6272 Flow Store Road. This is a 3.88 acre parcel zoned LDR within Area B. The owners wish to build 2 new homes. They're requesting two water services, and sewer is not available to the parcel.
Okay, questions, council? Right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 13, consider making appointments, reappointments to Concord United Committee. You've had a list there. Is outside of naming the new, picking new co-chairs, I'm not sure if there's anything else we want to do at this time. Any thoughts?
So we received recommendations from the current two co-chairs. Is that the list we're gonna look at? Or choose from?
Well, it's supposed to be attached here that I saw earlier.
I may have missed.
Yeah.
Hold on.
90.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Would be appropriate, at the same time we name them, again, it's not part of this motion, to ask, from my perspective, ask Valerie to meet with them and help them understand where we might be with all of this.
Yeah.
Counselor, I think that might be a little premature since, I mean, it's not even out of committee yet in Raleigh, so I wouldn't address anything that's still being. Yeah. I think to answer, I think what Betty's asking is I think we're going to appoint the 2 replacements for the co-chairs.
That's it.
With, I can't remember the names. I know one's Quint Locklear. Can't remember the other name.
Michelle Joshua.
Yeah. And then leave the other vacancies open for the near future until we get a little clarity on everything. I think was that what we agreed?
May just need some clarity on that because that's not the way this is laid out.
Yes,
So.
exactly. So what if we, between now and Thursday, we'll get that cleared up. But that's as far as we're going right now, as far as any new members we're going to hold until the legislation is clarified or comes through or doesn't come through. Are you okay with that? Everybody okay? Okay. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. Is there any comments, any items you want to move? No items to move? All right. With that, we are, I guess we're going to recess. Could you tell us our next plans? Yes, until,
So, correct, Mr. Mayor, so we'll recess. We do have dinner provided in the back because we're going to come back after that, and Leslie's going to walk us through the strategic plan update for the city, and then I'm going to provide an update on the budget for FY '26. So we will be coming back in here.
Both of those will.
Correct, yes, sir.
and what time do you expect us to start back?
That's a good question. I would say 5:45. There's a lot of folks trying to get through and
Okay.
eat.
5:45. We will be back in here and we will come back in session at 5:45. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you in a little bit.